As the years go on, life has a way of becoming calcified, meaning that your days and your routine get old, they get monotonous, they get boring, and eventually you get to a point where you want to shake things up and you really what you want is to reimagine yourself and reinvent yourself. But there are a couple things that get in the way of doing this. And once you become aware of these, and it's not rocket science, but once you become aware of these and then you start to make some changes to combat these problems, then you can begin that process of reinvention and embarking on a more exciting life so that your journey, no matter what age you are, you want your journey to always be interesting. You want to be excited about your life. You don't want to be reading about the lives of celebrities and other famous people and always looking at them and saying, oh, that sounds great. That looks wonderful. I wonder what that's like. Well, no, actually, you don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be famous or anything like that, but you can have a very, very exciting life if you look at a couple things and make the right changes. So I am Mark Johnson, the founder of Bounce Pep, bringing you a fit and flourishing future. I'm also the youngest son of Bill Johnson. I want you to go ahead, if you don't mind, and subscribe because I do need more subscribers. I have a small group of subscribers and they do tune in. And of course, I'm always looking to expand that. So go ahead and subscribe because I'm always dropping little gems for you. Now, today, I did not prepare any notes or anything like that. This is really, really impromptu because I just wanted to have a heart to heart with you. And, this thing about reinvention, it's a real thing for people because, especially the older you get, the more the more monotonous your life can become in certain ways because you get into certain routines and you have certain ways and certain things that you're comfortable with, certain ways that you move in the world that work for you. But the flip side of that is that it can bring on a lot of monotony and you can start to feel stagnant. And it doesn't matter how successful you are. That's the interesting thing. A lot of very successful people actually feel trapped by the lives that they lead. And so this desire for reinvention, if you have it, it's nothing unique. A lot of people kind of face that dilemma. Do I just keep doing what I'm doing, even though I'm not excited about it? And, I obviously I think that there's something else out there, in the universe for me. Or, do I make a leap and start to try to change some things and then and see where it takes me? So I'm on the side of if you really know in your heart of hearts that it's time to reimagine and reinvent yourself, then you should go ahead and do it. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about just burning down your life. That's not what we're talking about here. Um, but in a responsible way, you start to look at what are some things that you can change to bring more excitement back into your life. And you might have to make major changes. You may have to change like the type of work that you do. You may have to change. Well, I don't want to get into the details just yet because let me segue into this properly. Okay, there are two big things. Okay, that are going to get in the way of reinventing yourself, and these are the two things that you have to be aware of. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you off the top what these two things are. The first one is people. Okay, and then the second one is environment. Okay, and if you think about this again, like I said a few moments ago, it's not rocket science. Okay. But what happens is we get comfortable with the people in our lives. We get comfortable in the environments that we're in, even even though they're not serving us necessarily in the way that we would like anymore. Okay. So, one of the things I'll tell you a way that I reinvented myself because um, I didn't start, going to the gym and lifting weights and all that stuff until I was in my 40s, right? So you're talking about, more than 4 decades of my life had gone by, and I was already, Mark Johnson, uh, a fully formed grown man. But in my 40s, I said, well, you know, I want to do some reinvention here. And so I realized that I had to change something, right? And so in my case, I had to change the environment that I was. I had to get, into a gym. A gym was a totally different. It was an alien environment to me because I was never someone who went to the gym. Okay, but I realized that I had to get into a new environment with different stimuli that would basically inspire me to behave differently, right? So this is one part of it, is the environment. The other part again is the people. A lot of times the people that you're around impact your ideas, and they impact what you're able to see and what you're able to imagine. So this is what I'm telling you is, if you are at a point in your life where you need to reinvent yourself, and things have just gotten old and stale, and maybe you've got some money in the bank, and you're doing, like, objectively speaking, you're doing okay, but you just don't have that excitement anymore, um, then it's time to look at who are the people that you are spending your time around all the time, like most of the time, and then what are the environments are you putting yourself in most of the time? Okay, because those things can change, and understand that they're related. Okay, when you get into a different environment, you're going to be around different people. Okay, so the first thing that I recommend is this: anytime you are looking to reinvent yourself, you know, ask yourself, where can you go? What can you do that, in other words, what environment can you put yourself into that is foreign to you, but that could, maybe open up your eyes to new possibilities and put you around different people. This is vitally important. The people that you're around have such a huge influence on what you can imagine and what you can see for yourself. I mean, it's amazing how you get around different people and you start talking and you start seeing what they do and how they do things, and then you start understanding, like, wait a minute, um, like, that's doable for me. That's actually doable. Like, I can do that too. It's not like a huge mountain to climb, like, if I just set my mind to it. So get yourself around different people, put yourself in different environments, and just watch how that can just transform your life. This is one of the reasons why I offer the Passion and Purpose Project here in Japan, is because I want you to come in Japan, because I come to Japan because I know that if you get yourself into a completely different environment, then you're going to see different possibilities for your life. A lot of constraints, limitations that seem very real to you start to melt away when you get into a totally foreign environment, and you see people doing things and moving in ways that is unfamiliar to you, but it's very eye opening. And that's one of the things that the Passion and Purpose Project does for you. Okay, so you can always go to www.bouncepep.com and check that out and contact us if it's something that you're interested in. But that just feeds back into my point about reinventing yourself and understanding that sometimes you have to change who you're around. Okay, you have to change the environments that you are in. If you want to, if you want to start, maybe you want to write a book, right? It's something you always have been dreaming about. Well, I mean, you probably need to put yourself in the company of people who are avid readers, and other people who are, maybe they're writing something, or people who are artists, like basically people who create things all the time. If you can get into, the company of people like that, then what it's going to show is that, oh, not only is it possible, but it's actually doable for you. Now, nobody can guarantee that you are going to be an overnight sensation or anything like that. But if it's something that you really want to change about your life and you really want to do, then you have to put yourself in the company of certain people and get into those environments. Okay. That's all I'm telling you. So I want you to just think about, what I've talked to you about here, and just understand that you don't have to be stuck. You don't have to be feeling stagnant. Um, just because you have a lot of money and just because you have a lot of accomplishments, it does not mean that what you should be doing for the next 5 or 10 years of your life is what you have been doing. Right? You may actually, it may be time for a change, and that's okay. All right. So I want you to just take this to heart, think about it, and I'm going to leave you with that. So I want you to take this with you, and I'll talk to you next time.